All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. It's Sherri Johnson, and it is Friday afternoon, and we are having our next Rockstar interview today. I'm so excited. We've got an awesome guest on today, an awesome rock star, Jeff Pfitzer from St. Louis, Missouri. And while you are all getting on, and I see a couple of you getting on right now, tell me where you're checking in from, where you're tuning in from in the comments. Give me your name so we know you're here. Again, this is Sherri Johnson with Sherri Johnson Coaching and our Friday edition of Rockstar Interview, where we interview top experts from around the country that are influencers and will help you today build a better real estate brand on social media, which is why Jeff is here. So good afternoon, Jeff. It's now afternoon for you in Missouri. Welcome to the show.
Thanks you for having me. And just to give you one correction, it's Pfitzer.
Pfitzer. I did say it wrong.
It's all right. That's okay. It's common for my last name.
Jeff Pfitzer. That's and right. I tried so hard and I still messed it up. So there you go. We have come together. Actually, I know Jesse really well. Jesse is one of my favorite people. I'm actually going to see him next weekend and meet him for the first time out in San Diego. Tell us about your what you do, tell us about Drunk on Social, which I think everyone has probably seen. You've got so many, 8,000 followers, I think it is. It's pretty amazing. I know you're part of Lab Coats. So give us a little history of yourself and your businesses for us, please.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. So first of all, I'm actually in the mortgage business, which is massive irony, because I'll talk a little bit about that, but it's kind of, that's the context by which I usually lead when I'm speaking and standing on stages and that sort of thing, because I'm always speaking to the real estate industry. And anybody who knows this industry knows that the only times mortgage people get invited into rooms is if we're bringing donuts or buying alcohol, or, we've got our credit card out. And what I've been able to do as a result of video and social media, and then kind of intertwine myself into real estate, has been really what has helped just kind of take our business off. And nowadays I spend most of my time in business development. I'm far removed from mortgage now. I'm just kind of a builder and of it, and creating relationships and helping not only real estate agents, but also loan officers grow their business through organic social media and that sort of things. And so, yeah, I'm involved with a platform called the Business Video School. I've got ownership in that company. I've got ownership in a platform called Social Coach, where we do done-for-you social media content for our clients. And we also have a platform called Real Estate Mastery Pros, which is separate as well, which is kind of a spinoff of Lab Coat Agents, where we do once a month live webinars it's designed for loan officers. We're actually partners with the National Real Estate Post. Some of you probably have heard of that. Frank Garay and Brian Stevens are really big names. And we put on like an educational seminar of some topic that's very hot or very relevant in today's world. Because what we found is most brokers and brokerages are typically giving their agents pretty antiquated stuff. Very few are innovative. And so we thought, you know what, let's try to position loan officers, because they're also antiquated, to give them something of value to actually bring to their agents. That's not, hey, let me take you out for a cup of coffee and tell you how great I am. It's, hey, let me help you with your business by providing you this training. And so we have these once a month webinars. We do live webinars. We do live Q&As. And we provide a bunch of stuff for realtors. So yeah, it's my world now is, and then of course, Drunk on Social, which is a Facebook group that's dedicated to just teaching and sharing and educating the masses about social media in general.
It's awesome. And you're out of Missouri, St. Louis, right?
St. Louis, yep.
And so people, everyone wanted to tune in on, when we have topics like these, some of the questions that I know agents are going to want to hear. First off, your teaching, what I loved what you said was not just taking people out for coffee, but actually adding value, or taking them out for a drink. We can do that part later and celebrate your success.
Right.
But really, as a former regional VP with 750 agents and working closely with loan officers, to say exactly what you just said, help people build their businesses. And I think that's huge. So I want to just comment on that, because I think that's, unfortunately, we just don't do enough of that, in which case we have coaches and other companies like mine, and yours. So helping agents build brand awareness and helping them build a better brand on social media is such an overwhelming topic for so many agents. They either have a Facebook business page, they don't know what to do with it. They've thought about video, they're terrified to do video. What are some tips, right out of the gate that you can tell people that this is not the scary monster that it is? It's actually the very best free platform that they can actually leverage and build their own real estate businesses from. So wherever you want to start with that, I know it's a pretty broad question, but
Sure. Yeah, and I get it a lot. And I've been doing this for over 6 years now. When I first dabbled into video, and I was kind of a cavalier and an anomaly back then. And this is right when Facebook Live was brand new. So people, for then at that time, it was easy to get views, a lot easier than it is now, because I was the anomaly, I was the unicorn, and there was very few people doing it. Today, it's definitely become a lot harder, but what we teach people, or what we tell people, is that it's very simply that social media is just a vehicle, and it's a contributory vehicle to your business, but it needs to be treated just like all of the other, strategies that you have in your business plan. Any kind of prospecting or calling on expireds or door knocking and those sort of things. Social media is another piece. It's a long game, but it's arguably, and I would argue it because I'm living, breathing proof of it. It is the most sustainable business strategy that exists. And I was that guy. I've been in the business 21 years, that as an originator, and we do by and large the same thing, right? We're always seeking out new clients, new referrals, that sort of thing. And it's just a constant game of chasing. And I was just sick of chasing, where I was like, I wanted to figure out, how can I attract? How can I get my phone ringing? And I'm not going to stand here and say, well, I just had this brilliant idea and this brilliant plan and I executed it. I didn't. We switched companies back in 2016, and or maybe it was 15, and I had to think about, how am I going to differentiate myself from where I was leaving, who was a dominant player in my market. And that's where I came across video. And, so it's really a matter of understanding that social media is exponential in your reach. And if you don't overthink it, and you treat it, this is the tricky part. It's all about business, but it's not about business at all. Does that make sense? Probably not at all. It's all about business. In other words, are you a consumer on social media? Do you go there because you just want to scroll TikTok and laugh and giggle? Do you go there to see what your family is doing in Maryland or whatever, right? Or are you going there to consume for the sake of your business, and going there with the mindset of, I need to be creating every single day? And because that's what it's all about. So it's for your business, but it's not about your business. In other words, think about the masses. The masses are in the grouping of people who go to social media for mindless content. They go to social media to kill time. They go to social media to be entertained. They do not go to social media to look for listings. They do not go to social media to see what award you've won. They do not go to social media to look at your open house. They don't go there for Monday market updates. No one, literally zero humans do that, other than maybe other realtors, because they're curious, right? That's it. And they're not your potential client. So why are you so consumed with putting out content that is all about your business, when the reality is nobody cares? And so it comes back to just understanding what the playing the game, that's what I call it, which is an algorithm, and understanding that the name of the game is to get more engagement, because the more engagement you get, the more you're going to connect with people. The more you connect with people, the more you're going to build relationships. The more people are going to like you, the more people are going to think of you, the more people that will use you when it comes time to buy or sell a house.
And I get the all about business, but nothing about business concept 100%. And I think you're absolutely right. People are not going on there. They're going on for entertainment. They're going on for passing time. And oh, by the way, they're seeing you constantly. The whole idea is, you just said, engagement, conversations, connections. So what are the best platforms for agents to be on? I get this question all the time. Is it Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, now TikTok? Let's talk about which ones are better to spend money or time on, or just get engagement on.
Well, the real answer is all of them. And by all of them, it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn, in my opinion. Those are the 5 that I spend time on, a lot of time on. And those are the ones that I think you can actually gain business from. The reality is most people aren't coming from the same place that I am, and that is a little bit overwhelming. And so what I tell most people is focus on 2. The reason I say 2 is because there's the 2 most obvious that are interconnected. All of you, I've yet to meet anyone who does not have a Facebook page. Maybe they had one and they left, and if they left, that's another conversation for another day, but that's on them. They need to look in the mirror and realize why their feed was filled with drama and politics and all that kind of stuff. But the reason why we say that is because Facebook owns Instagram. In my opinion, Instagram is the future of social media. And so having a presence on both of them is very important. Plus, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by, originating your stuff on Instagram and then automatically sharing it over to Facebook. So focus on 2. So those are the 2 that we highly recommend to most. I'm a massive lover and believer in TikTok, not because of how entertained I am by it, although that's a big reason why, but because of the technology. It's a creation piece for me. Now, I was an early adopter, so I've got 30-something thousand followers. So it works for me. But honestly, I use the platform because the technology is so far advanced over any other platform that exists. It's unbelievable. Not only is it a video camera, but it's a video editor. You can put in licensed music without getting your stuff muted. There's so many features, so many effects, so many tools that you can use within the platform. And so what I tell people is first of all, understanding how to use the platform is important because it is the future of social. Instagram's already copied it. YouTube now has shorts. So that tells me that the future of social is short form video content, and it's probably going to be super advanced features like TikTok. So if you understand how to use it, it's just going to make you more adept than using Instagram Reels, which is where Instagram wants you to be, right? So it's all a matter of being a student of the game and understanding what and how to use it. Facebook is dying, in our opinion. Now, it's too big to fail, and they'll never die, and they do own Instagram, which is extremely important. And Facebook will always have relevance, but Facebook is where us boomers go, as my kids would say. And that's a fact. Like, that's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's real. Like, your kids aren't on Facebook. Anybody younger than 25 isn't. And if they are, like my kids, they say, Dad, I'm only there just to see what you're doing, because they're interested in what Dad's doing. But other than that, they're not there. So yes, it's still very relevant, but will it remain relevant? Will they become relevant to the future generations? I don't know. However, Facebook groups is by far and away one of the most powerful tools that exists on social media. So if you don't have your own group or you're not engaging in groups, i.e. this one right here, there's a lot of opportunity there. And this one is a great example of the power of Facebook groups. Tristan is so far ahead of his time, 140,000 members. It's insanity, right? I mean,
no, it is. So that's on my list of questions is Facebook groups. Sure. And what people don't know or realize is that Facebook groups, as a VIP group or Sherri Johnson Friends and Family Real Estate, and you can elaborate on how to do this really well. But what I understand from learning this is that Facebook groups allows you to have unfiltered content that's going out to however many people are in that group. And so without the algorithms, without Facebook on your personal page telling you who's going to see it, without having to pay or boost a post, the Facebook group provides you a platform and a group where you can interact and have conversations with people every day. They'll see those posts guaranteed. What can you tell them to do, and how and why is this? What other ways can they use Facebook groups besides a VIP group, or is that the best way?
Well, I mean, first of all, you can control the narrative. So that's very important. And so to me, Facebook, first of all, and this is my indicator. Like, for example, I just posted this in Drunk on Social the other day. I was watching ESPN the other day, and there was a commercial for Facebook groups. That's like a massive, light bulb or blinking light that says, if Facebook's putting millions of dollars behind advertising it, they're telling me I should be spending and focusing my efforts on groups. And so there's 2 ways that you can attack groups. One is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create your own, because that takes work. And I'll describe what that entails. But you can get in. The reason why I am where I am today is because of this group right here. because I became friends with Tristan. I quickly learned how to bring value, not be the mortgage guy who says, "Hey, I'm Jeff and I'm in St. Louis. If anybody has any needs," that's a first class ticket to get booted, because nobody cares about that. Nobody wants you there for that. You figure out how to bring value. And I quickly realized, I can bring a lot of video value, because not a lot of people were doing it. And that helped elevate my brand. And so find groups. This is not a great example for the audience. What a great example for the audience is what is a community group that's already thriving in your market? Or what are you into? Let's just say you're really into golf, or you're really into gardening, or you're really into fitness and diet, or you're really in, you name it. Like literally, there's no topic that you can't include here. There's probably a group that already exists. And if there's a group that exists in your market for that, go find the group, start engaging in the group by bringing value. Over time, you start to become known. This is exactly what I did in Lab Coats. And before you know it, you become an authority on a topic in that group, right? Completely unrelated to real estate. But now what happens is that little trigger, people start to notice you. Their human inclination is they're going to go check out your profile. If it's on Instagram, they're going to go look at you. They're going to go follow you. And before you know it, now you've got them in your social media funnel. And when you're posting that less than 20% of boring real estate content, they're seeing it and they're remembering. Because you know why? Because they can resonate with you, because you're also into growing tomatoes. Like, it's stupid. It's silly. That's what works, right? That's how you grow raving fans. That's how you build a strong audience.
And so what I love that you're saying is you can create your own group, or you can join a group that already exists and be an expert in that group and add value. And then what seems like insignificant conversations create results. They create constant awareness of you. And then boom, when that person's ready to buy or sell, they have your name pretty much branded into their head, because they have conversations with you all the time about something like golf or tomatoes. And that's awesome. How does someone go about creating a group if they wanted to create their own group? And what types of groups could they create? One that's a friends and family group for past clients, or do you suggest something else?
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's more of a business page than anything, but actually doing it as a group is going to be more effective than a business page, because business pages are graveyards. So that's a great idea. It's a great idea to keep those people tight, and you could really build it into your sales process. When you sit down with someone with a buyer's agreement or seller agreement, I've told agents this for years, like, add a question to that page when you're doing this of, what are your social media handles? Where do you spend time on social? Go follow this page right now. Go friend me right now. Let's friend, like, why wouldn't you do that? Because all you're doing is saying, I want you to sign up for me being able to advertise to you in perpetuity, which is without saying it, right? They're going to opt out of your email campaigns because they don't really want to get another email campaign that says 10 tips to get your house ready to sell, right? They don't want that. But if you friend them on their social, on their turf, essentially, you increase your odds of now all of a sudden being remembered, right? You don't have to have a great CRM, because honestly, most of them are going to opt out of it anyway. And so when it comes to groups, that's one idea. Another idea, the other most logical one that a lot of people talk about is the whole digital mayor strategy, which is build a group around your community. It's the type of content that everybody who lives in your community is going to be interested in. But it requires effort and execution out of you. So it's just the easiest thing to do is post content about what's happening in the community, post content about maybe any election related, weather related, event related, but then also highlighting local businesses. You can do one specific to restaurants. I actually have one. It's called the Starving St. Louis Inn, and I'm only doing it just to prove a point, because I don't see enough people doing it. So I'm like, what? If nobody's going to do it, I'm going to do it. And we go out and just interview restaurants. And we started our group in the beginning of July, and we've got like 700 or 800 followers already. And we haven't paid for anything. Right. I've invited about 25 people, and the rest has taken care of itself. Yeah. So imagine, as we grow this and interview more restaurants, the amount of growth and eyeballs that are going to be on me as often as I want to be posting in that group. Exactly. And so it's that sort of thing, but literally you can niche it down. I did a group once In 2018, I set off. I was challenged by a billionaire. His name is Jesse Itzler. And I intentionally wanted to do something physical because I had a lot of billionaire friends, but I didn't feel like I belonged in that group. And I knew there's no value I can bring them from a business perspective. They're all bigger than me, better than me, more successful than me. And so I was like, and I thought to myself, the one common thread that I see with successful people is fitness. And I'm a very fitness oriented guy. And I was like, I'm going to do something crazy that's going to catch their attention. And Jesse had suggested, he goes, what you should do is you should run the amount of miles that are the year. And so it was 2018 and 2018. And for those thinking about it, that averages out to 6+ miles per day that I had to run in order to achieve this goal.
Yeah.
But what I did was I used it as an excuse to create media. So I created a group called 2018 and 2018. I only had about 200 to 300 followers. But think about it. The people that followed that group knew exactly what they were getting. They wanted to follow my journey, and those people are all my raving fans. And so even though that had nothing to do with mortgage or real estate, who's the first person they're going to think of when that kind of stuff comes up? Because now they're in my funnel. They're in my, and it was easy for me because, hey, I'm already doing it. So all I got to do is document the journey.
Exactly.
And so it's the same for anything. What are you doing every single day? What are your hobbies? What are you doing with your family? And believe me, some people will say, well, I'm boring, Jeff. I don't do crazy stuff like that. And I've asked that question before. And I've had somebody say, well, honestly, literally, like right now where I'm at in my life, I'm pretty lazy. All I do is lay around and watch Netflix. I'm like, perfect. Create a group around Netflix shows, because you know how many people are in the same boat as you and would totally engage your group.
It's
and they would love that. It's like there's no, unless you're a human who sits and stares at a wall all day, which none of those exist,
right?
You're not boring. Like you can relate to other people and find those things and build content around it.
How many times, I have to tell you, how many times do I see people say, I'm starting a new Netflix show. I need some suggestions. I mean, and that gets about 85 to 100 comments. I mean,
Correct.
This is just proof positive that you're right. No topic is, you could have topics on everything. I love that. I think that's awesome. So talking about video, and if you're out there and you have questions for Jeff, please submit them. We're happy to answer any questions that you have for them. And a bunch of people are saying how much they love this already. So talking about video, let's talk about the easiest way for agents to create some video. What do you suggest? And I tell everybody, you have to have a YouTube channel. What are the benefits of a YouTube channel? And then how do they start to create some video content, and what's the best content out there?
Yeah. And so I'll comment on the YouTube comment first. YouTube is next level. So you're going to have some video skills in order to have any success on YouTube. So I don't want to intimidate anybody by saying, if you're going to do video, you have to have a YouTube channel. YouTube is massively powerful. It's the future of television. Having a presence there, if you can get to that level, will have a profound effect on your career, but it's not the end all, right? Because the other side of the coin is YouTube is the anti what I just talked about, which is short form content. The future of our world is mainly short form content, which is why YouTube is the future of television, because when people go to YouTube, they know they're setting aside 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to watch something like you would a television show. Whereas when they go to social media nowadays, when people see your video and they see that's 3 minutes, they're probably going to keep scrolling, because even though they're not that busy, our attention spans are lower than that of a goldfish. So you've got to be really good at hooking them in. So the way you lead in your video is critical. And B, you've got to figure out how to get your message condensed down, in my opinion, to sub 60 seconds. You really want to get your messages and be known for having sub 60-second content. Therefore, your audience knows you're not going to waste their time. And so obviously, depending on the message, I just created a 7-minute video last night, but it was about raising money and I was telling a story, and I'm okay with that. That was the premise of the message. But by and large, I focus on keeping all of my content sub 60 seconds, short, bite-sized, and to the point, because nobody wants a rambler. Nobody's interested in a rambler. And so when it comes to shooting video, first and foremost, get over yourself. You don't like how you sound. I don't like how I sound when I listen to myself. You don't like how you look. I don't like how I look. It's the reality. Like, we all want what we're not. It's just human nature. Get past all of that. It's like the zit that you had on your face when you were 15 years old in high school, and you look in the mirror and it's a beacon of light just shining and blinking, and everybody's going to stare at me, and I'm so embarrassed. When the reality is, nobody cares at school except you. That's the reality. And so get over it. Like, get over it. If you can't get past that, you just have to accept that you are going to be living in a more mediocre world of success, because the reality is the future of our world is video. You've heard it, you've said it, or you've read it. I don't have to tell you this. You all know this by now. And if you don't know it, you're lying to yourself. You're hiding from it. You're ignoring it because it's the reality. And so you just got to get over it. You got to know that you're going to suck in the beginning. I just, like a lot of people, when I speak on video, I show some of the videos I did in my early days, and I was really bad, and I'll count the ums, and you get better as with practice, and you just have to practice, and you have to watch yourself, not for vanity's sake,
no,
for improvement's sake,
yep.
right?
Yep.
And so just do it. You just got to turn on the camera more often and get comfortable doing it, and then as time goes on, you'll become more eloquent. You will practice. You'll learn how to eliminate ums. And by the way, ums are okay. Imperfection is okay. Why do you think Gary Vaynerchuk is so popular? Why? Because he drops an F-bomb every 5 words. And so his audience, they either hate him for it or they love him for it. But there's a reason why he's got billions of followers.
That's exactly right. And I think agents are, these are not supposed to look like, green screen video produced, studio produced videos. They're actually not supposed to be. So having those imperfections and just being real and being yourself and just saying, you know what, I'm going to jump in the deep end. I had an agent, she was a riot. She, a year ago, I said, I was doing this presentation. I said, get on video, scalability of your video, have conversations with people. They see you. They feel like they had a conversation with you, jump in the deep end. She's cursing me out. She says like $50 million a year. She said, do I have to do this? I said, just do it. Take one take. Don't try to make this perfect. Her business went up $30 million. It wasn't from just doing video, but I just interviewed her the other day again. And she said a lot of it was because I was in front of everybody every single week, multiple times a week with quick videos. And everybody feels like they're going with me, just like Gary, like watching her do real estate. And so, she didn't want to do it. And she did it, and she's so grateful she's done it. So we all have whatever our hang up is. I urge you, because what's going to happen is you will be left in the dust. Like, we'll be blown by, because this is the way of the future. And you can create some video content that is informational, educational marketing. What do you think about the steps in the home buying process, or doing a video, a pre-listing video that you send to a client, or an introduction video, face-to-face, just videotaping myself, whether it's on BombBomb or it's on my phone and I just text it. Talk to us about some of those ways that we can use video that way. Maybe that's a good way to start.
100%. I love that you mentioned BombBomb, and that's actually a great place to start. I love BombBomb. I've been a power BombBomb user for years. All of our people are power BombBomb users, and it starts there. So that's really the easiest way to get comfortable doing video, because it's one-to-one. You're talking to your customer. In fact, it's so funny. Just last night, one of my younger LOs sent me a video basically thanking me, saying, thank you for pushing me to get uncomfortable. She goes, I now have a goal of sending 10 to 15 BombBomb videos every single week. And I sent a BombBomb video to a past customer who didn't use me on their last transaction, and now said this was so unique and so authentic, and that now she just got a refinance out of it. And so she was just giddy over it, right? And that's the thing, is we get so many responses from people saying, wow, that was so unique. You could articulate what you're trying to type so much better. You can share, you can show emotion, right? So when you're sending them a message saying, congratulations on your new contract, you can show it. You can't show that in text, right? Yeah, you can capitalize it all day long, but we don't like to read a lot of stuff.
No.
So if you can just take BombBomb, and I know what some people are thinking, well, it's still daunting. But I tell you, if you can go to your office, sit in a conference room across the table from someone and have a conversation with them, why can't you do it in front of your camera? In fact, it actually makes your life a hell of a lot easier, because typing out a message versus saying it is just, it's so much easier to do it via video. And so I think that's a great place to start. Secondarily, you should absolutely set up a process within probably your CRM. You don't have to do it. You can actually do it within your email, where you set up videos, evergreen videos, meaning they can be used in perpetuity, that you can send out to every single customer. And you should create a series of them, like, congratulations, your contract has been accepted. Here's the next steps. The appraisal is ordered. Here's what to expect. I need you to get an inspection ordered, and here's what you need to plan for with that. Title, whatever. And then you can create a series that you can just, you record them once. In fact, if you want to overachieve, you don't have to do this professionally, but you could hire a videographer, do them in front of a green screen, make them fun, and have some fun graphics, right? But everybody should do this. And honestly, probably less than 5% do it. And you will find people will be blown away. So for us in the mortgage business, I have my LOs doing that to buyer's agents, listing agents. And what do you think? Most agents are like, wow, that was really cool. Thank you. Right. It stands out. And so everybody should be doing something like that. And then you can set them up to have, 10 days after closing, hey, just checking in. How you doing? 1 year home anniversary, checking in. There's so many different ways that you can do things. That's probably one. Bomb. Two are process videos. And you don't have to have a CRM. Another hack that we've figured out with some of our LOs is they'll take those videos and they'll create email signatures with those videos. So then they've just got them, and all if you go into your Outlook or Gmail, you can set up different signatures, and it's like, one is for congratulations on contract, one is for appraisal. All you got to do is go in, choose the signature, it pops right into the email. Boom, you've got a video, send it out. It's just, there's ways to hack the system to make your life more efficient, because hell, I'm all about efficiency.
Well, and I love that you just said, use the signatures as a little library of emails that you write all the time. Short ones, by the way. Bulleted lists are better than paragraphs, but you drop that video in there and you've got your 4 or 5 or 8 videos that are ready to go. I happen to date a mortgage guy who uses the same signature thing as he's got like 10 different things, and he just grabs it. I'm like, how do you have the same thing? He uses the signature. So
it's I would say this, it's a little bit more antiquated. It's easier to set it up in a CRM.
Yes.
Well, it's not easier. That's why he doesn't do it, because he's probably a little more antiquated. It's easier for him. But if you set it up in a CRM, it's like, that's one less, that's even a less step that he has to take now. It automatically fires.
Yes. If you're not using that CRM or have one, and you should, the next best thing is to do that, as Jeff said. So I love the videos. I love the sequential videos. I am a huge believer in, we are at our best when we are face to face, everybody. So, your enthusiasm, they can't see that on an email. They can't read. Nobody wants to read them anyway. And these videos, first of all, it's like they're having a conversation with you. And, every single thing on emotional intelligence and sales, when you are speaking to emotions and reading body language and they're seeing yours, it's just like trying to negotiate a deal over text. You can't. You just really can't. You can't see what their issues are, their fears. When you're the one creating the video and sending that out, they're seeing you. They feel like they just had a conversation with you. I love doing
personal. It's personal.
It's totally personal. And BombBomb's a huge, they're a partner with us, and I will tell you, since they came out, it is the easiest platform. You can see when someone's watched the video. It actually has a moving thumbnail, so it's very intriguing. Mm-hmm. People want to open those, and they just love it. You meet somebody in open house, send them a BombBomb video. Yeah. Right? That's the way to follow up with people. I want to ask, we have a question before I forget. Here it is from Teresa McCarter. I've been told to add past and current clients to my personal Facebook page. She has reservations about doing that. What are your thoughts?
So I'm not going to tell you, Teresa, that you're right or wrong for that. That's a common thing for people to say, that they have reservations about it. But that's why I'm winning and a lot of people aren't. And the reason is because although it can sound a little weird, people are stalking me. People know my 2.5-year-old daughter by name without knowing her. They know my wife. They feel like they know my wife. Why? Because my social media is my own reality TV show. And there's a reason why reality TV shows have always been so popular in the last 10 years, because people love that stuff and they want to get to know you. And so I've heard people say that, like, well, that's private. Well, that's okay. If you want to be private, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually love hearing that because it's just one less competition that I'm going to have out there. But the truth is, but like what I said in the very beginning, if you're not sharing your personal life on social media, you're probably going to have a relative graveyard of engagement on your social media, because what else are you doing? Your personal life is your family, it's your pets, it's your travels, it's what you're doing in your life. Then you've got your personal hobbies, also personal, right? Anything outside of that becomes business. And basically, again, the social media has become so diluted, especially in real estate. I saw a stat the other day that real estate's like 3x any other industry of content on social. And it doesn't surprise me because real estate's so far ahead of most industries. Most of them are all playing catch up, but it's also completely diluted. And so I get it. You have to go on there and share a listing because if nothing else, you've got to, show the seller that you're trying to do stuff, but you're probably not going to sell that house. And at the end of the day, you're branding yourself. And if you want to win, if you want to be remembered, this is no different than you putting up a billboard. It's no different than you putting your name on or your face on a grocery cart. You want to be, it's a subliminal game. The difference between what I just described, A, you have to pay for those. B, it's not an exponential audience. It's only the people driving up and down that road or going into that grocery store or driving by that bus bench, which if that even exists anymore. Whereas social media is exponential. It's exponential. It can be targeted. It can be organic. It can be free. Most of what I do is free. I hardly pay for anything because I've just figured out how to play the game. And I figured out, I'll even give you a quick story. This was years ago. When I started doing video, I was doing the same thing. I was talking about mortgages. I was doing walkthroughs of my office. I was videoing meetings live just to check people in. And then one day, and my kids, my daughters are big drivers. I have 2 teenage daughters who are big drivers. They taught me how to edit videos, which is very, very important, by the way. We can get back to that.
Yeah.
But they were comfortable in front of the camera. Like you'll all learn. Like anybody who has young kids, they're just comfortable. It's just the new generation, right?
Yep.
My daughter at the time, she's almost 18 now. She was 13 then. And she was making slime and she was selling it on Etsy. And I was like, you know what, Isabel, let's do a video. Let's go live and let's show the audience how you make slime. And then let's promote your Etsy, right? Because I'm just like, you're a kid. This is fun. That post got hundreds of comments, thousands of views. And it was a light bulb moment for me. Like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this was so easy. All I did was just share my life, did something authentic. So many people commented that they resonate. Oh, my kid's doing the same thing. Oh, that's so awesome. You're doing this with your daughter. And it was like, it was that light bulb moment of like, what the hell am I doing? I'm just going to give them that. And then my wife and I had a daughter. She wasn't planned. And she's been wonderful. She's 2.5 now, and she's now the focal point of my social media because it's like taking candy from a baby. If you've got a toddler, everybody loves toddlers. They're just so much fun. They're so cute. If you have grandkids, if you have nieces, nephews, take advantage of that. And for me, I always told my wife, I'm like, the worst thing that happens here, I'm documenting our lives, and we've got it always to go back to. And if this does nothing for us, so what? I'm just creating memory books in a digital world. And but I quickly learned that actually it pays off big time in my business. So
before you told that awesome story about the slime, and oh my gosh, I have slime. I have literally damaged all kinds of things in my house still from my daughter doing slime. She's 17 now, but I think our kids are about the same age.
Probably. Yeah.
But that slime video, I remember people videotaping slime, and you're right. That generation was taking selfies. They were in front of the camera constantly. It's such a good point that you just made. Someone, Zach, who is my producer, just said, I want to know what the first video Jeff ever recorded. So he wrote that before you told your story. So that's why I was laughing.
Well, that wasn't the first video.
Tell us what the first video was that you ever recorded.
The first video was a live video, and I'm not kidding. It took about 30 to 60 minutes for me to strike up the courage to hit the play button. I still remember I was at my Lake of the Ozarks office. We had one loan officer in the office. He left the office. He went out and sat outside because he knew how nervous I was. It was really bad. The funny thing is, it got thousands of views because, again, I was doing this back in 2016 or 15, whatever year it was, when this wasn't common. And so, and I still use that video, Zach. I actually will put that in my presentations occasionally just to show people. Here's an example, and you can see how nervous I was. You can hear it in my voice. It was bad. I said a lot, but people loved it. And it was because it was really authentic. And I think people could sense it. Like, 'cause even in the comments, people would say, you're doing great. You know, like, people just want to encourage you. People just generally they want to give you encouragement. So that's another reason why you should put yourself out there, because you'll be surprised. Nowadays, there's a hell of a lot less haters. I had to go through that. I had to go through it because I was the unicorn. And I was the one who started doing the dancing videos and the completely unrelated, it started with the slime and it led into me doing all kinds of fun stuff. But I was doing the fun stuff well before TikTok existed. And so people were like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? Like, that's cute, but what does it have to do with business? And, I didn't have the playbook. There was no playbook. I just said, you know what? I feel like this is the right thing to do. And I just stuck with it and I ignored it. And honestly, years later, I've had many of my colleagues in the business, even my own partners, some of them are competition, who've reached out and said, dude, I'm really impressed. Like, you were right. And everything that you're doing is working, good job. And that's probably more validating than anything that I've ever done. Even, like I said, my own business partner, he's probably my biggest critic. And many times over the years, he's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, and now, of course, he's living in the dream that we're living in, which is business far exceeding what we ever dreamt of getting to. So
was that video, you recorded the video, and then
my first video was live.
It was live. Facebook
was live, which is even more crazy. Yeah. Facebook Live was very new back then. And,
yes.
There was a guy in my town doing a show called Coffee Talk, and I was just so enamored by it. And it was just, he was taking a new concept of Facebook Live, people didn't know what to do with it then. And I was just like, I feel like this guy's onto something. And so I got to know him, and he really helped me as well. And I remember him telling me, like, my goal is to stand on stages and teach this stuff. And it's funny, his career went nowhere, and my career, and now I'm the one standing on stages. We don't talk anymore. I don't know what ended up happening to him. He's still local, but I remember that because I never had those goals. I just wanted to grow my business, and opportunities just created themselves.
I remember having an agent, a team that was in my territory, and they were doing YouTube videos, and they were this is like 2011, 2012. And they were creating these, what looked like a newscaster desk. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, and we're going to talk about, it was when you said that Coffee Talk video, and this team, I remember Chris was doing this, and everybody's like, why is he doing this videos? I'm like, this is the smartest thing I've ever seen. And, he had followers and he was getting listings from it. And this was like literally 2012, 13.
Yeah.
And here we are today. So I want to ask you, this has been great. Do people need, because one of my questions, and you started to talk about how important it is how do they edit these videos? Do they need to hire somebody? Is there software programs? Like, what's the best way to edit your videos?
Yeah, it's a great question. The reality is that most of us can't afford a full-time videographer. And it took me years to get to that point where I felt like I could afford a full-time videographer. Now I have multiple, but I still shoot a lot of my own videos. And I implore people to say, listen, video is becoming more and more diluted as well. So how do you stand out with your videos? One is how you lead in with your videos. If you find yourself leading in with your videos by saying, hey guys, or happy Friday, or, it's Jeff here. Like, that's a first-class ticket to just getting scrolled. Like, nobody's going to stop because you're not catching their attention. You're leading in like everybody else. And frankly, we just did this at an event. Brendan Kane, who's authored a couple of books, and he's coached Taylor Swift and some really big names, Katie Couric and that sort of thing on social media. He said social media, although we feel like it's one to many, because it really isn't. It's one to one. Think about it. You say when you lead into your video, hey guys, well, but think about it. How many people on the other end are sitting in a group of people watching that video? It's you almost always one to one. So cater your message as if you're talking to one human on the other side. You'll connect with them so much more. But so go back to editing. It's in my opinion, having basic editing skills is critical to your video game. And the reason I say that is because now you need to learn how to edit out the beginning where you go in and push play. You need to edit out where you push in. If you mess up in the video, rather than starting all over again, you can just, oh crap, I said that wrong. Stop, pause, look at the camera, start the line over again. Mm-hmm. If you learn how to edit it, you only got to shoot stuff once, go back and edit it. Plus you're probably creating jump cuts, which is actually a popular form of editing anyway.
Yep.
So these are the kind of things that sound complicated. This is part of the reason why the Business Video School was created, because we teach this kind of stuff. And so we'll teach you how to use like a Filmora if you like to edit on a computer, or Viva Video if you like to edit on your phone. I started with iMovie. It was that same 13-year-old daughter who taught me how to use it. It's that same daughter who taught me how to use TikTok. And, honestly, if you have teenagers, they already know. They can teach you. They can show you. But there's this thing called YouTube, and you can easily YouTube anything and learn how to do it. You can join a school like Business Video School. We'll teach you how to do it. There's so many different avenues for doing it. You just got to know that it's not going to be easy in the beginning, because it's not second nature for you. So be patient with yourself. Know that it's going to take you a few months. And if you practice consistently, you'll get good at it, and you'll learn basic editing skills. And then it makes getting into a platform like TikTok a lot easier, because if you have no editing skills, you're going to go into TikTok and you're going to be overwhelmed. And so that's why this stuff is so important. And I realize I can talk to audiences all day long, and I do. I realize that like 1% are actually going to do what I tell them to do. And so I challenge anybody listening, be the 1%, because that's the opportunity in this. It's just human nature. We're just lazy. We're scared. Right. And so those of you who are willing to learn some basic skills, now don't get me wrong, I will have my videographer do like the stuff that I want to be really sexy. But in order for me to get stuff out consistently and in mass, I got to learn how to do a lot of stuff myself. And so you just have to do it. And again, there's going to be people that say, I just don't want to do it. And that's fine. That's okay. I'm not saying if you don't do video, you will not be successful. I'm not saying that. But if you do video, you're increasing your odds of being a hell of a lot more successful than you are.
No, it's outstanding. And, I wanted to ask you what the future of social media looks like. You mentioned a couple of times TV. You mentioned YouTube being the next source of where we look at. I mean, you look at Netflix, Hulu, Prime, everything. I barely watch the regular TV anymore, cable TV. I mean, I just don't. I don't even know what the channels are anymore. I don't even watch any of that. So social media and the future, what do you think that looks like from your perspective?
Well, I think this is only going to continue to evolve the way that it is. And anybody who thinks it isn't is lying to themselves. The younger generations, they've grown up holding, mobile devices. The future of television, that is actually mobile. I'm not even sure that maybe not in some of our lifetimes that even televisions will become somewhat obsolete, other than just a bigger projector to project watching YouTube. Because cable television is essentially going to potentially become obsolete. I do believe as it relates to business that, it's short form. If you can figure out, there's two things, and it's not just video. How to hook an audience is by far and away the most underrated talent that you can learn. And I mean, a picture, a post that's images, your caption has to hook them in. Your video, you got 3 seconds to hook them in. So understanding and learning how to do that is critically important. and then doing it in a short fashion. So again, I used TikTok, and just a video tip that I'll give to people that I use personally is, so I hear this all the time from people. It's like, I created this 1-minute video like you told me to, Jeff, and it took me an hour to produce because I just had to do it and redo it and do it and redo it and do it and redo it. Right. And I tell them, A, if you have editing skills, you can eliminate a lot of that time. 2, if you put a little bit of time into scripting your video ahead of time, you will eliminate so many headaches along the way. And so I do it one of 2 ways. I script a lot of my videos. I use an app called Prompt Smart Pro. Well, I will literally copy paste it, put it in there, and I'm reading it on the screen, but you have no idea that I'm doing it because you can't tell where my eyes are going, right? And of course, I've learned how to make it seem authentic, so it's not like I'm a robot. The other thing I do, and this is more TikTok related, is because I script all of my videos, I script them for 1 line at a time. That way, if I'm shooting it in TikTok, or I just don't want to shoot it in TikTok, or I don't want to shoot it in Prompt Smart Pro, I literally look at the line on my screen, shoot that, and then say it. Go back to my thing, do the next line. And now sometimes I'll change the background to create the jump cut situation. But those are 2 things that I would suggest, is if you just spend a little bit of time scripting your videos ahead of time, you will save yourself an enormous amount of time creating the content. Because just like you, I'll all of a sudden have a magical idea. Magical, right? I'm running, I'm on the treadmill, whatever. I'm sitting on the toilet, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Or I'm listening to a podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, what a great idea.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like, I'll go put my thoughts to paper right then and there as quickly as I can. I'll do it in my notes. I'll do it. I'll text myself, you name it. And it just becomes so much easier, because if you don't do things in the moment, an hour later, it's lost. And now you can't remember what you were thinking about. So
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I just got a question. Before we end it, how to enter filters while you are recording?
Well, first of all, I don't use filters. It's more of that my wife could probably tell you all about. I know women especially love filters. It just depends on the app that you're using. A lot of times you can edit and filter it that way. In a TikTok, it's the same way. In Reels, it's the same way. You can add filters later. Just like when you guys are, and I say you guys, and I'm talking to women here because I know this, because I'll take a picture on my phone and my wife will be like, oh my God, that's terrible. Give it here. And she'll mess around with it and she'll lighten it up and blah. And I'm like, how the hell did you do that? But that's just, for most part, it's not a guy thing to do. We just don't care. A picture's a picture, right? And so I don't, while you're recording, I'm sure there's a way to do it. Because I don't use filters, right. I'm not the expert at that question.
All right. And Keita Patel asked that question. Thank you. You have been so literally, if you're listening to this, and we've had a ton of viewers on, and I'm sure we will have thousands of views on this interview, because it will go out onto our podcast, and also out onto social media to live there forever. But and we email it to like 130,000 people. But here's what I want to tell you. If you're listening to Jeff, please listen to this again. Take some notes, put this into action, start before you're ready. Don't worry, get over yourself. I heard these are all things he said to do. You have the most dynamic personality if you are in sales and you love what you do and you're passionate about real estate. And he said it, if you can talk to somebody in a conference room, it is like, my example is, if you can meet somebody in an open house and speak to them directly and talk about what you do, you can do video, and you can really brand yourself better on social media. Start today. You're right, Jeff. I say the same thing when I coach people. People are like, this is such great content. And I'm like, I love that you told me the compliment that you liked my class. I'm more excited when you tell me you implemented it and you get results. That's what we want to hear about. We want to hear your great success stories. So where can people follow you? We do have here's where to follow Jeff Pfitzer, Drunk on Social, which I love that title. How did you come up with that?
It was actually Tristan, which is a good thing, because he's actually not a drinker. I am. And so it would have been worse if it was my idea.
Well, it's hysterical. Drunk on Social, Business Video School, and follow you, right? They can all just follow you in general. This is
My name is all of my tags everywhere. So from
Perfect.
YouTube to Facebook to Instagram to TikTok to LinkedIn, at Jeff Pfitzer is pretty much all of them. Which, by the way, that's a good piece of advice. A lot of people overthink this and they want to be at Jeff St. Louis Realtor or
Right.
whatever. And it's like people know you by your name. Try, if you can, try to make all of your tags, all of your names on social media the exact same thing. And if you can, just make it your name. Don't overthink this stuff. You don't have to tell them you're a realtor in the name. And if anything, I think that's a turnoff.
I agree.
Just be you, be authentically you, and then remind them what you do through your content. So
such amazing, great advice, Jeff. Wow. I'm so glad that you were here today and you have just dropped so many amazing pieces of gems. I mean, this is like right to the end. This last one about what to use for your taglines, for your tags and your identification. I totally agree with you. All these extra things about real estate. I think that was a 90s and 2000 thing where everybody said their real estate. Such great information today. I hope you come back. Will you come back to us?
Certainly.
Come back on the show again. Yeah. And again, follow Jeff, but more importantly, follow the instructions and the great tips and advice he gave about branding yourself on social media and jumping into video. It's been outstanding getting to know you. And I love your style. I love how you talk. I love the advice you're doing and the things you're doing for this industry. And it's fantastic. So this will be on the You Rock with Sherri Johnson Real Estate Podcast. You can download that on any podcast platform. Please do. We've had over 3,000 downloads. We're so excited. Thanks to Zach, my producer, and all of the great content we're putting out there for you. Do something for yourself with this information, please. Do not just say, wow, that was really good. I loved that session today. I want you to put this into action. Your future self will thank you. And again, thanks for being on our show. And we're going to end here. But I want to tell you, so many people are writing outstanding info and thank yous. And listen, this stuff works. I know it does. We have thousands of agents that use these tips. But again, only 1% of you will actually put this into practice. So be in that 1%. Let's go make it happen. Let's have a great, successful listing and sales week. I'll see all you guys on our next episode of Rockstar Agent Interview. And Jeff, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.